One evening, I was cleaning out my garage when I heard the roar of an engine. A car was speeding through the neighborhood. All of a sudden, there was a screech of tires, followed by a loud thump. I ran out into the street and realized there had been an accident. A young boy had been hit by a car. His small body was lying in the gravel. I immediately took out my cell phone and called an ambulance. As I watched in disbelief, the man who was driving got out and started inspecting the damage to his car. He paid no attention to the injured boy lying under his vehicle. All of a sudden, a woman came running out of her house screaming and crying. She was obviously the boy's mother. She ran up to the driver and started shaking him.
"What have you done?"
She cried.
"What have you done to my son?"
Her anguished screams sent a chill down my spine. The driver roughly pushed her away and started arguing with her.
"It's not my fault!"
He yelled.
"The boy jumped down in front of me. Look what he's done to my car. I'll make you pay for this. Curse you!"
The mother screamed.
"Curse you! I will never forgive you for this!"
The ambulance eventually arrived, but there was nothing they could do for the little boy. He was already dead. The police arrived and tried to determine who was responsible for the accident, but there were no witnesses. They had to accept the driver's version of events. He was not charged with any crime and was allowed to go free. A few days later, the driver sent the boy's mother a bill for the repairs to his car. The front of the car was dented and the headlight was broken. When she refused to pay, he took her to court. The grief-stricken woman lost the case. Not only did she have to compensate him for the damages to his car, but she also had to pay his legal cost. A few months after the accident, the driver came home from work to find his wife had disappeared. He called the police and filed a missing persons report, but they couldn't find any trace of her. It was as if she just had vanished into thin air. A few days later, the man's 2 children also went missing. They had been seen leaving their school, but they never arrived home. Somewhere along the way, they had mysteriously disappeared. A few weeks later, the dead body of one of the children was found in a dumpster. When the detectives who were investigating the crime heard about the court case and the little boy who had been killed in the accident, they became suspicious. On a hunch, they questioned the mother of the little boy and obtained a warrant to search her house. They were horrified by what they found. In her living room, the mother had constructed an altar, decorated with pictures of the dead boy. Sitting on the altar were the severed heads of the driver's missing wife and child. The wife's eyes and mouth had been sewn closed with string. The police arrested the mother of the little boy. She confessed that she did it because she wanted revenge. She wanted to torture and make him suffer. She said she sewed the dead woman's mouth closed because she made too much noise. She forced the woman to watch as she killed the children in front of her. Then, when she was done, she murdered the woman as well and cut off her head. She sewed her eyes closed because she didn't like the way the dead woman was glaring at her. The mother was found guilty and was given the death penalty. She was executed by hanging. All of this happened because of a damaged car.
Outside. I had this horrible experience once that happened in winter. I live alone in a small town in Illinois. I don't want to say where though. I had a small house that I inherited right after I got out of college. It was in an old neighborhood, and a lot of houses in the area had been taken down. So, it was a really lonely looking place. However, I really liked it because it was cozy. I wasn't used to the weather at the time. I had gone to college further south, and the winters were nowhere near as severe as they were in northern Illinois. On the night that this happened, the company I worked for closed down early. They let everyone go home because there was an ice storm on its way. I am ashamed to admit this, but I really didn't know what an ice storm even was. I found out pretty soon after, though. During the ride home, the snow had already begun falling, and it was becoming ice pretty quickly. I realized I really needed to get home before this got bad. I was able to get home without getting into any sort of accident. It was also dark by the time that I got out there. I can tell you it was a very good feeling to get my car into the garage and to get into my warm house. The storm got really, really bad. I was curious because I had never seen something like this before. So I had the porch lights on, and I sat in a chair and looked out my big picture window. It was pretty amazing how the light was captured in the falling ice, and it shined. I jumped, though, when I saw someone out in the falling ice. Some guy was walking down the street, and he was walking very slowly. He looked over at my house and stood there for a few moments before he moved on. I thought it was weird because of the weather. I think anyone would be in a hurry to get inside where it was warm. But who knows really why people do what they do? I continued to watch the storm while I read a book. After a short while, I noticed again someone walking outside. I looked up, and it was the same guy as before. Again, he stopped and looked over at my house. I doubt he could have seen me, but that wasn't what concerned me. He was, yet again, walking outside in the middle of an ice storm, and that is just weird. After looking around for a while, he just continued down the street and went on his way. I was a little freaked out, so I got up and made sure that my doors were locked. And then I put my blinds down. I didn't really think that the guy would be up to anything, but I also wasn't really wanting to see him over and over again. I've definitely seen people do weird things in my life, so walking around in the freezing rain might just be something to add on to it. I read my book peacefully, and after an hour or two I went to bed. I fell asleep rather quickly, too. I woke up in the early morning to a very loud knocking on the door. Getting up, groggy, I went to the front door and went to open it. It was frozen shut, and I yelled to whomever was on the other side that it would take a minute to get open. I finally managed it, and when I did, 2 police officers were at the door. The cops told me that 2 houses were broken into the previous night, and several people were beaten pretty badly. The houses weren't robbed, though. I assumed that they wanted me to let them know if I'd seen anything, and then suddenly I remembered the guy that was walking around and around. But before I could explain it, they directed my attention to my doorknob. There were some of what looked like wires in the door. The police explained that they were instruments used to pick a door lock. They had gotten frozen in my door and then broken off. We later discovered that the man responsible for the beatings, the man that I noticed walking around the block, had tried to get into my house too. However, the freezing rain had kept him from getting in. To this day, I don't understand why someone would break into someone's house for no other reason but to beat them. I don't know, it's bizarre. I'm just happy I wasn't added to the list of victims that had had this happen to them.
Nina! Please help me, Nina! Who is this, and how did you get this number? It's me, Natasha. Please help. I'm trapped somewhere and I can't get out. It's very dark and very narrow. I can barely move. I don't know how I got here. I tried to call you, but I don't think I have any credit. Mother of God, is this some kind of sick joke? It's not funny, whoever you are. I'm going to report you to the police. What are you talking about, Nina? Help me! I'm begging you! For God's sake, please help me! Please tell my parents to come and look for me. Natasha? No, it's not possible. It can't be you. It's me. Who else would it be? Please help me. It's a prank. It has to be. Why are you acting so strange? It's me, I swear it is. Why don't you believe me? What's wrong with you? Natasha is dead. She was my best friend and she died 2 days ago. The funeral was this morning. So I'll ask you again. Who the hell are you and how did you get my number? I don't know what you're talking about, Nina. Why do you say that? I'm locked in a dark place and I can't get out. Don't you understand? Please, please help me. What was the last movie we saw together? What? Why do you ask me that? Nina, for the love of God, please help me. If you're Natasha, then you should know that. What was the last movie we saw together? Don't be a jerk, I can't remember. I'm terrified, and you want me to answer stupid questions. Answer me or I'll block you. No, don't do that. Wait for me to remember. I think it was The Notebook. Is that it? We both cried like crazy at the end. That's it, right? What grade did you get in biology? Nina, for God's sake, stop it. Answer me. Oh, okay. It's a trick question. The old woman didn't give us our grades yet. Do you believe me now? Natasha? But how could it be you? Yesterday night I saw them lay you out in a coffin. This morning I saw them lower you into the ground. It can't be you. It just can't. Where are you? I don't know. It's dark and cold. I can barely move. My God, Natasha. You're buried alive. You're still inside the coffin. Natasha, are you still there? Yes, I think you're right. But how? How did I get here? Who put me here? I told you. You died 2 days ago. At least that's what they said. The doctors pronounced you dead. They said your heart stopped. We all thought you were dead. But I'm not dead. You must have been buried alive. I read about these rare cases where people appear to be dead, but they're not really dead. They have some type of weird medical condition. They're catatonic or cataleptic or something like that. Everyone thinks you're dead, and they get buried alive. You think that's what really happened? It must be. If it's really you and you're really alive, then that must have been what happened. It has to be. Oh my God, Natasha, you're alive. I'll call your parents right now. Do it. Hurry, please. I'm starting to feel like I'm short of breath. Nina, answer me, Nina. Nina. Forgive me, I'm back. I just called your parents. At first, they didn't believe me. It took a while to convince them. They're on their way. They're coming with an ambulance. That's great, Nina. But tell them to hurry. I don't know how much longer I can stand this. Hang on. What I don't understand is why they buried you alive with a cell phone. Who came up with an idea like that? I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to get out of here. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Nina, please don't leave me here alone. Sorry, Natasha. I just contacted a doctor. He says you need to remain calm. It's very important. Just calm down and breathe normally. Until they get you out of there. Because otherwise, the air will run out. Try to relax as much as you can. Help is on the way. Do you understand? Yes, but it's hard for me to relax. It's difficult to breathe and I'm panicking. And there's something on my feet. Something keeps rubbing up against me. Calm down. Calm down. You're imagining things. But something's down here with me. What if it's spiders or rats? Oh my god, I'm terrified of rats. Or what if it's a dead body? Calm down, Natasha. The air is running out. For real. Help is on the way. Your parents say they're close to the cemetery. I'm talking to your dad on the phone right now. They still haven't arrived. I can't take this anymore, Nina. I can hardly breathe. And there's something down here. I swear, there's something crawling on my feet. I turned up the light on my cell phone, but I can't see what it is. Nina. Nina, are you there? They're 2 blocks away. I can't wait anymore. I'm suffocating. I don't have enough air, Nina. Tell my dad to hurry, please. Please, I can't breathe, Nina. Tell my dad, tell him to hurry. Nina, please tell my parents to hurry. Because I can't take it anymore. I can't breathe anymore. And something is crawling up my leg. Nina, please. Nina. Nina, why are you laughing? Nina, what? I guess I can tell you now. There's no help on the way. I was lying. I was keeping you busy so you wouldn't try to contact anyone else. What? Why would you do that, Nina? I'm suffocating! Are you really that so stupid? Haven't you realized by now? It was me who gave you the poison that left you like this. I injected you again at the funeral. And I put your cell phone in the coffin. I wanted you to know who did this to you. What? What are you talking about? I'm suffocating! I know. And now it's too late to ask for help. But why? Why would you do this to me? What did I ever do to you? You have to ask. You don't remember. You don't remember when you stole my boyfriend. I was in love with Martin and you took him from me. But that was 2 years ago. We made up. You got over it. Well, I guess I never really got over it. I loved Martin ever since I was 7 years old. And you betrayed me. And it never stopped hurting. And I've hated you ever since. I've been planning this for a long time, Natasha. I wanted to see you suffer. No! Warn my parents. I can't breathe anymore. You deserve it. Goodbye forever, Natasha. Enjoy your stay underground with the rats and the spiders and the dead body I buried you with.
My wife and I have a really unique setup in our house. My wife is a strict vegetarian, and I wouldn't give up meat to save my life. She also really doesn't drink, and I like to have some beer every day when I get home from work. She's so strict about this that she actually worries about food and stuff getting mixed together. It's sort of obsessive-compulsive, I guess. So in order to just not let her worry about it, I let her use the kitchen refrigerator for her food. I bought a second refrigerator for my food and beer, and I kept it out in the garage. I know it must seem sort of weird for a husband and wife to have their food completely separate from each other, but I really never thought about it. We didn't often have meals together. Rather, we would just eat when we felt like it. For my wife, at least, eating was much less of a social thing than it was simply a necessity. Plus, I tended to eat later into the night, and she wouldn't touch a single thing after 7 p.m. For most nights, I just got used to going over to the garage door and didn't even bother turning the light on. I'd use the hallway light to see my way over to the refrigerator, open it up, grab what I want, and then go back into the house. I would do this over and over. I didn't use the 2-car garage for much of anything. My wife and I parked our cars in the driveway, and I had 2 old motorcycles and a broken down Ford Mustang, along with some other boxes stored in the garage. So one night, my wife had already had her food and she went to bed pretty early. It was around 10 o'clock, when I realized that I really hadn't had anything to eat. Again, this wasn't too out of the ordinary. Since my wife and I really didn't eat together, I often forgot to eat until it was pretty late. I was watching some scary movies on Netflix since my wife was in bed, and usually she didn't care to watch that stuff. So I got up and went over to the garage door, opened it, and went to grab some food. Now, I can't explain it, but for some reason, I felt very uneasy while I was in the garage. I had never felt that way before in there. But it was a very overwhelming, scared feeling. I chalked it up to the fact that maybe the movie I was watching was scarier than I had thought it was. I quickly grabbed what I wanted, slammed the refrigerator door shut, and made my way back into the house. I fixed myself the food, got into my chair, and got back to watching my movie. When it was over, I decided that I wasn't really tired. I was enjoying myself. So I decided to go ahead and watch another movie. But first, I decided that I would grab myself a couple of beers with which to enhance my enjoyment of the upcoming film. On my way over to the garage, I began remembering my apprehension from before. It was again odd because I watched scary movies all the time, and since my wife didn't watch them, I was usually watching them alone. It had been years before I actually got freaked out by one of them. I tried to be bold and just go about my business. But when I got to the garage door, I told myself I wasn't going to chicken out. I opened the door, left it open, and made my way over to the refrigerator. While I was holding the door open, I began to get really freaked out. I couldn't explain why again. But I was so timid at the time that I was hyper aware of what was going on around me. I got so worked up thinking that someone was in the garage with me. It was the movie, I know, making me just scared. But it was made worse when the garage door to the house slowly shut on me. So rather than grab my beer, I jogged over to the garage door and quickly flipped on the garage light. The garage lights were bright, and since I never used them, they immediately hurt my eyes, and I groaned. But almost simultaneously with my groan, I heard another groan. I rubbed my eyes and looked over at the far side of the garage. I didn't see anything, and at first I thought it was just my imagination. So I walked over and began looking around things. I looked behind the boxes and behind the car. I didn't see anyone, and I just chalked the groan up to my imagination. But on my way back over to the door, I glanced in the back seat of the Mustang, and then jumped when I saw someone laying in the small back seat of the car, hunched down and trying to avoid being seen. This time, I just ran quickly over to the door. I got in the house and locked the door. The garage opener was inside the house, so whoever was in the garage could not get out. I called the police, and they came and got the guy out of my garage. They found a box cutter and a razor blade on him. But that's not the scariest part. The part that got me the worst was that the man had apparently broken into my garage 2 months beforehand. He had been living in there the entire time, surviving off food from my refrigerator. Every single night that I had walked into that garage without turning the light on, this guy was in there with me. That has been hard to get over.
Hey, this is the Grimtail Brothers. Make sure you like and subscribe for more.